I think a lot of people experience when you have a hard time standing up for yourself, um, saying what you want to say, and really just taking a stand, being firm, um, and being able to say what is uncomfortable for other people, and um, standing firm for yourself. So, one of the things that a lot of people pleasers encounter is finding it really difficult to back themselves up in these situations, in difficult conversations. And what tends to happen is you would rather decrease your authenticity, um, kind of dilute your message, water it down, making it easier and more digestible for other people, than to stick with your guns and what you know and the truth and what it is that you want to say. And this is particularly challenging when you grew up always being preoccupied, thinking about what other people might think, and always having to pay attention to other people's reactions, how they're responding to you, how they're feeling, and you're in your mind, you're always just assessing. You're watching their expression, you're watching their every move, you're watching like the corner of their lips, if it's turning up or if they're smiling, if they're starting to feel uneasy. You are literally picking up on all of those cues, and you're reading the situation. Like, you're very good at reading situations, reading people's emotions, reading the room. However, that comes at the cost of your authenticity and your truth. And this doesn't mean that um, you don't want to be authentic, or that you're lying to people or you're manipulating people. But what it does mean is that you don't feel safe to come out with your truth and to put it on the table without the other person turning away from you, saying that you're unlovable, I don't accept you, and, you know, worst case situation, they walk away from you. And it is in our natural instinct to want to be accepted. But for those of you who have grown up in a place where you don't feel seen in your truth, or that you won't be accepted unless you are agreeable, or you are obedient, or you just agree with the other person, so that it's just more convenient for the other person or the relationship, it's very likely that you just don't feel safe to stand in your truth. So, thing number one that I want to share with you that has really helped me in this process is knowing that you are no longer responsible for the other person's feeling. You are no longer responsible for the other person's feeling. Now, I don't want you to take this conversation out of context, so please don't quote me when I say, Eunice is saying, don't care about other people's feelings. In this context, we are talking about those of you who are very preoccupied about thinking about other people's feelings all the time, to an extent that you have a hard time speaking your truth. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Now, when I say that, it means that because you have spent so much time thinking about and being preoccupied about other people's emotions, you only prioritize them, and whatever it is that you're feeling, your authenticity, your truth, your message, your idea, your story, then always end up taking the back seat. And other people's emotion and reaction always overshadow yours. And that comes at a cost of your truth, of who you really are, and being able to share the space equally in a relationship. And so that won't be good for any relationship, because the other person is now put on the pedestal, and you are always taking the back seat. So, in order for you to regain this power in the relationship and the conversation, and really like the authority of yourself, it's very important for you to realize that, all right, whatever it is that I say may not sound very good to you. It may not be 100% agreeable to what you're saying. It might be the complete opposite of your ideologies or how you feel. However, what gets triggered within you when I share my truth with you cannot be my responsibility. It is your responsibility alone. So, whatever it is that comes up for the other person, of course, keep your intention pure. Keep it, um, strictly about expressing your point of view. Be gentle about it. However, whatever the person, like if you hit a nerve, if you trigger someone's trauma, someone's pain, someone's unhealed mess within them, um, that is not your responsibility. And if they are unable to deal with those difficult emotions, it just goes to show you who they are. And for a grown adult person who is emotionally mature, they will be able to regulate themselves, bring themselves to equilibrium, to be able to, you know, fairly disagree with you in a very civil way without having to make you think that you're not allowed to disagree, and be able to actually conduct themselves and have an ongoing open conversation if they're open to it. And so, this is the number one issue I find, when a lot of times those of us who aren't able to speak our truths with confidence and with conviction, because we always feel like our presence is shaken, or our presence and our truth is secondary to that of other people. And we would rather not upset others just so we could keep the peace in this dynamic. And and so what's really important is you coming to an acknowledgement that, hey, we're both adults. We both have our points of view. I'm allowed to share my point of view, and you may not agree with that, and that is entirely okay. And I would trust you enough that you're able to handle your emotions. And if you're not able to handle your emotions, I at least am able to handle mine and be able to come to a place of safety within myself. So at least I can feel safe enough within myself to know that if you get triggered, that is entirely okay. That is on you. You've got homework to do. We are all on a journey, but I cannot be responsible of your emotional work. Okay. Um, and I really do believe that that is going to do most of the heavy lifting in resolving this issue. Um, and let me know what happens when you try this out. Take this into the next conversation when you feel like I want to back down, but give yourself the opportunity to step forward that if you feel that you have that conviction to back yourself up, and to know that you can always come back to the sense of safety that you provide within yourself. So give that a try. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.